This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
We're happy you're here with us.
Yeah.
How you doing so far today, Josh?
I'm up.
You're up. You're moving.
Yeah.
That's a good start anyway. You showered, brushed your teeth.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's a good day then.
Even put on deodorant.
Whoa. A special occasion. Very cool. Today what I want to talk about is medication. And when you started it and, your thoughts on that and whatever comes up.
Okay.
All right. So you started taking medication in 4th grade. And that was a very difficult decision for me because for a variety of reasons. When you were a little boy.
Yeah.
So that concept of you taking some heavy-duty medications,
I would imagine it would be daunting.
It was, yes. It was very, very difficult. I chose to do all kinds of other options before that.
Mm-hmm.
Adaptations and anything and everything, including food changes and, it just anything that was an alternative to taking medicine. We tried it.
Yeah.
And in 4th grade it just seemed like, you were having a very difficult time functioning, and you had been for a long time. And the question that I had was, I wanted to make sure you had the best opportunity for success. And at that point, it seemed like really medication, based on what the doctors were telling me.
Mm-hmm.
You had some really good doctors, and I trusted what they were saying. And they listened to my concerns.
Yeah.
But when you just couldn't seem to function, it just became something that was a point in time that it was necessary to try the medicine. I made it clear to everybody, the doctors included, the teachers included, that I'm not putting you on medicine so that the teachers have an easier time with you at school,
mm-hmm.
or that I have an easier time with you at home. I was never going to entertain that kind of conversation.
Right.
So I was never going to put you on a medication so we had an easier time. It always had to be about you being able to function and you being able to just be able to learn to handle different situations that came up for you.
Yeah.
Because I could tell that you were uncomfortable most of the time. And, not looking at it that you had to conform at all.
Right.
Because, you know me, I'm not about conforming. It's just, be who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to squash who you are. So that was another concern. So it's just the heavy-duty medicine, right? What does that do to a young body?
Right.
Okay, long term. Because they seem to indicate to me that autism doesn't go away, and the aspects of autism in your life might change, and yet that had to be something that I was aware of, that medication would probably be a lifetime consideration.
Yeah.
But then what it would do to you. And I really was concerned about all of that because I didn't want to change who you were. I had never been on medication like that, so I didn't know what it felt like.
Right.
And I still don't know what it feels like except through you.
Live vicariously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you were part of the process the whole time and still are, in that it's very important that, to me anyway, that I know what you're feeling on the medication, what side effects you're feeling, if it's helping, if it's not helping. And you've been a participant ever since you started for us to know when something wasn't really helping you out, or if something made you feel too crummy.
Yeah.
We would go back to the doctor and go, this isn't working, he's too tired, or he doesn't feel anything. I remember you saying that sometimes. So I would really like for you to share all that, but I wanted to go first today to set up so everybody else knows, to that how it came up.
Right.
How, you were, constantly having difficulties.
Yeah.
And so...
it honestly didn't help that I was always bullied.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And we did what we could. There's things that I found out, after you were done with high school that you told me that I didn't even know was happening. And I wish that I knew. It's heartbreaking for me to hear those things. But right, so that's something that's might have contributed to your difficulty. But it was also just your processing, your functioning, and your ability to be very capable in moments of your life to stay on track or to cooperate, so those are things that had to happen in school so that you could learn. And not spend so much time in the principal's office and like that. So
I went from being reactionary to being I don't know.
You started a very profound statement, and then it went, I don't know. All right.
Well, you're still having your morning coffee, too, so...
Yeah, that's true. So, some people are uncomfortable with the idea of medication.
Yeah, even I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the idea of being on medication, but I understand that it is a necessary thing for me, and that it really does help me, even if I don't like it.
Right. So if it helps you, why don't you like it?
To me at least, it feels like it's limiting what I can do and what I can't do. Because, I always have to worry about how much medication I have, whether I have it with me, if I'm going on a trip, whether I have enough to last me through the trip. It puts a slight limit on everything I do. Like, let's say I take my medication a little bit late. That can screw up my whole day. Because I don't have the medication going through me that's helping me to, for lack of a better way of saying it, slow down and think.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And that's interesting because it looks like you're very slow. It looks like you're very slow when you're doing things sometimes, but what you're saying is that your mind is going so fast that you need it to slow down in your mind so that you can get stuff done. So it's what we see that you're moving slow. I joked with somebody the other day is that there's no such thing as hurry up. With you, I've learned that there is no such thing as hurry up.
Yeah. Things happen as they happen.
They do. And what it means is I better get more organized so that I don't have to ask you to hurry up. Yes. So what you're talking about is a side of it that I didn't really think about, which is, your consideration of do you have it Do you have enough? Making sure you take it on time. So, can you describe what it feels like to you taking medicine? Not the act of taking it.
Yeah, because that's easy.
Right.
It's just swallow, done.
Yeah. Right. What's it like when can you tell the difference of when you take your medicine and you don't take it?
Yes, I absolutely can.
What's it like?
For one thing, I become much more stressed, as if I need that in my life.
Right. Yeah.
It's... Imagine you constantly have caffeine, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you stop and don't have any for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
You know that jittery feeling you get, and it's just like, you gotta shake it out and everything, but it doesn't leave? That you get from a caffeine withdrawal? You don't drink soda very much, do you?
No.
Alright. Imagine not having coffee then.
Right. And I don't drink very much coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I have probably a cup a day.
Yeah.
And in the summer, sometimes I don't even drink it.
Yeah.
But it will cause me to have a headache.
Yeah.
Right. But for you, we did cut way back.
Yeah.
And we're kind of working to get you off soda entirely.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that when you drink too much coffee, you get, soda, caffeine, you get jittery if you don't have it?
No, I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
If I'm not on my medication, I definitely feel it. But in the sense that I feel antsy. Like, I feel like I can't stay in the same spot. That I just need to do something, but at the same time I don't feel like doing anything. And it's like the pulling in multiple directions again.
Right.
But it's almost constant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's debilitating like that.
So throughout your life, you've been on a variety of medications.
Yes.
And from the time you started going through puberty, your body was changing so much, your hormones were changing so much that it would literally change the effectiveness of your medication sometimes just in, it seems like a day it would happen.
Yeah.
And that wasn't anything that you could control, obviously, and staying on top of that to help you to be served best by the medication, because if it's not at a therapeutic level, you're just taking medication that's not helping you.
Are you saying that I was hormonally imbalanced?
No. Well, I think most teenagers are. That was a time that was very, very difficult. And I imagine, too, that was a time that in school, just going through school is difficult, in my opinion. There's, like, you talk about the bullies, and people just, it's a time in your life that you go there to learn and have this opportunity then to, figure out who you are and what direction you want to go.
Yeah.
But it's just hard. I think some kids they're young and they're stupid and they're mean. And so yes, it was difficult for a number of reasons, but add the therapeutic effect that you got out of your medication fluctuating was such a difficult time. It seemed like there was a period of a few years where we went to the doctor every single week. Now, not necessarily to take care of medication, but it was always an issue. And we always had to keep track very closely of how you were sleeping, how you were eating, how you were functioning. And
when I would take the medication and everything else like that, yeah.
Yeah. And, for me, that was a maybe that stands out to me. I don't know if that stands out, that time of life stands out for you, a period of time. For me, it does, because I'm not naturally an organized person. I make lists for myself so that I remember to do stuff. So I have lists on my desk, and then I go, okay, I can do that. I cross it out as I go, right? Because I won't remember everything. Mm-hmm. But I am not the let's take notes on everything kind of person.
Right.
So does that time stand out for you, medication-wise, or not necessarily?
Yeah. I mean, I remember whenever I played one season of baseball, mm-hmm. and I remember the medication made me a little bit fat. Hmm. And I hated that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, I bloated up, essentially, and it wasn't fun. Mm-hmm. I used to be able to run, mm-hmm. and then I'd have to huff and puff around the diamond if I could do it.
Yeah.
And it was just frustrating, and
mm-hmm. It was and that was one of the side effects that we would go back to the doctor, and that one I said, that was a side effect that was affecting you in ways that were just too much.
Yeah.
So they needed to adjust that. When that started happening, they needed to adjust that.
Yeah.
So it's always that dance, Yeah. Well, how does medication, I know that there are a variety of ways, but when you take it, is there something that's kind of been a constant that you notice? Is there,
You mean between medications?
Yes, like you've been on some pretty strong medications.
Yeah.
Do they interfere with your sleeping?
Sometimes.
Your appetite?
Sometimes. It all depends on which medication it is, because it all can have different side effects, mm-hmm. and not all side effects that are listed will happen, but at the same time, it's not the same for every person.
Sure. So I'm asking you, is there some side effects that you've been experiencing now, the regimen that you're on?
Aside from being able to function.
So that's a positive side. That's a positive effect.
Yes.
That's the intended effect.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's any bad side effects right now.
Okay. So you feel like you're on a pretty good combination.
Yes. And that's another thing we had to watch out for. Mm-hmm. was to see if the combination of medications went together and everything else like that.
Mm-hmm. And it was very difficult at times because medications could have a side effect that were pretty detrimental.
Yeah.
So you would have to have blood work done.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, which was such an ordeal.
I didn't like needles. I still don't like needles.
Right.
But at least I can hold still for them now.
Right. That was a part, too, that was so hard for me as your mom. I would say, okay, look, this medication is so strong that it could affect his liver function, so you have to check the liver function on a regular basis. Is there some other medicine that you can use that doesn't have the side effect? And
for the longest time, that was no, wasn't it?
Yeah, we eventually got you weaned off of that, because that's also the one that when you were taking it, you gained weight.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's just that always made me so uncomfortable. Again, going back to you being a little boy, and my responsibility was to be there, be your voice, to be the one there protecting you and deciding what was best for you. And and when the conversation is a new concept for me, something that I had never studied before this point, it just seemed like it was, what do? Do you just trust the doctors that this is the best solution when there are clearly side effects that are not healthy?
Right.
And that one you didn't stay on long. I really pushed for you to be off of that one.
Mm-hmm.
But so the other ones didn't require the constant blood test, Still, they have side effects. And I had always had that in the back of my mind and would ask them all the time, how does this help? What does this do?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes they would say it would help Josh to focus on the subject. So in school, he can learn the subject that's being taught. Okay, what's this other one? What kind of it was described to me that it keeps the lid on. So because you would be very impulsive and things would agitate you so much that you would have an outburst that seemed to come out of nowhere, but if you watched you could see it coming.
Yeah.
You taught me, I could see it coming. And at school, then when you shoved a desk and, it just got to a point where for your safety and other people's, not because you were trying to hurt anybody, but because if there was this out of control point in time in your life and you needed the medication.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have something to say? It looked like you were going to say something.
Oh, I don't know.
No, okay. One time, you were out of high school and you quit taking your medication cold turkey.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, I'm doing awesome. I don't need to take this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, not even a month and a half later?
Oh, it was...
Or was it showing up earlier than that?
Oh, much earlier than that. A month... Maybe you're recalling the long-term
yeah, probably.
effects of that decision.
Mm.
But it showed up full force with probably a week.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you describe what happened? And what that felt like?
The long term or the short term?
What you experienced by stopping your medication all at once.
Okay. At first, I didn't notice it.
Okay.
I've been told that that's because the medication was still circulating through my system.
Mm-hmm.
When I finally did notice it, I noticed it in a big way. Because I just stopped being able to function at all. I crashed.
Mm-hmm.
You might even say I crashed and burned.
Mm.
Because it was just that bad. And I went through withdrawals because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like medication withdrawals. And so I became all jittery and like the caffeine with like a caffeine withdrawal that I have sometimes where I can't sit still, but I don't feel like moving. So I'm being pulled in multiple directions, and it's just like, it's not mental at that point. It's physically. I feel like I'm being pulled in multiple places.
Right.
That's one of the things that happened.
So you being pulled in multiple directions is something that you've described before.
Yeah.
And what I think I understand when you say that before is that it's anxiety that you're feeling.
Yeah.
This was something that it was a relatively short period of time. So you quit taking your medication, and about a week later, I know this because I can recall what you said was, I asked you, why did you stop taking your medicine? And you said, well, you forgot to take it for a couple of days, and you felt fine, so you thought you didn't need it. So looking back at the medications, to how much was left, and it coincided, so I could see when you stopped taking your medication. And when you said that you crashed and burned, what I saw was the inability to communicate, the inability to move at times.
Let alone move past certain situations.
Right. So there's that. You functioning to the point of making decisions and, everyday activities.
Yeah.
But you just physically moving wasn't happening.
Right.
And so, so that's that feeling of going in different directions again?
Yeah.
But it was just on overload?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, today, not today literally, but recently I've been having the issue of occasionally being pulled in multiple directions in my head. Mm-hmm. This wasn't just in my head, it was physically as well.
Right.
And I couldn't get rid of that feeling.
And I recall that you said that you felt like you were spinning.
Yeah.
Like you just couldn't see straight.
Yes.
I remember that you were saying you couldn't see things the way that they are. So whether that happens internally and affects your thinking or your awareness, your cognitive abilities that's what you deal with all the time. This one was different in that it was a physical inability to see what was around you.
Right. I was so overwhelmed with everything that I could not. I just couldn't do anything.
Right. And one of those medications that you stop cold turkey is a medication that you are not supposed to stop cold turkey. You're supposed to be weaned off of it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to titrate down to a point where it's safe to stop taking it.
Yeah.
So we're very fortunate that you didn't
die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. We're very fortunate. So now you know that you wouldn't just stop your medication.
Right. Especially without telling you guys.
Right. The entire time you've been on medicine, it has been important, and you've been a participant in that all the time. I would say, how does this one feel? Does it make you uncomfortable? Is it helping you? And you've been wonderful in sharing how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And there's been times when, for example, you've been on, well, I was going to say some depression medication, and you would say that you don't feel anything, and you didn't like that. Like, I don't feel happy. No, I don't. Do I feel sad? No, but I don't feel happy either. I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't working for you. Another one, I didn't have to ask you how it felt because you were on it for a week and you were a maniac, like the little Tasmanian devil going around.
I remember another one. I if I remember correctly, made me really angry. That's
the one I'm talking about.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. And it was like I called the doctor, like, help! This was not working at all. This is so someone's going to get hurt, and you just were. It made you really out of control. So there were things that I could see that were obvious that needed to be different.
Yeah.
But you've always been very helpful in describing what's working for you and what isn't working for you.
Right.
And
I've always been a part of those conversations of what medication I need to take.
Right.
Yeah. And that was... I remember seeing some of the doctors' faces whenever I would first meet them for these conversations, and they were surprised that I was a part of the conversation. Not all of them, but some of them.
When things were right. So a couple of examples were when you were on that medicine that made you really angry. You needed me to just step in for you.
Yes.
When you stopped taking the medication cold turkey, you needed for me to step in for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I always felt that it was important that you were a part of it because you needed to hear what this medication is for and why you're taking it. And for you to understand that this is about your well-being and helping you to be able to function better. And not for the rest of us. It was all about you. And I'm happy that you were there to participate. Some people feel like, I don't know, that maybe they don't want to admit or discuss it, let anybody know that they're on medication. They have a feeling like medication is, I would, for lack of better words, bad or means something that they're...
Is something to be ashamed of.
Well, right.
Yeah.
I know some people that are experiencing that, where they feel that they don't, maybe they feel disappointed in themselves because they need medication, or they don't want to disappoint somebody else, or maybe it has a stigma attached to it.
Right.
And how do you feel about that?
My first thought on it is that if you need medication to be able to help you, take the medication if you can. I mean, like I said before about me, I hate being on medication, but I know that I need it to be able to function properly and to be okay in situations where normally I would not be. And my second thought is that for me personally, I readily admit I take medication. I'm not proud of it. I'm not sad about it. I state it as a fact of life.
That took some work on your part, because even a couple of years ago, you didn't. So we moved, and when we moved, you said that you'd like to not take medication.
Yes.
And so that time, we tried it, not cold turkey, So we moved here, and then I say that because that gives you a time reference. So what we're talking about is in the last couple of years this happened. And you said you just want to give your body a break. You want to see what happens. You want to see what it feels like.
Yeah.
And when you said that, I was like, oh crap. But we did it with the support of the doctors and everybody aware of what was happening.
Yeah.
And what did you find out?
Without medication, I'm a lazy bum? No.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
Oh, yeah. I'm wearing a shirt that says nope. I had difficulty finding the will to do just about anything.
Right.
I mean, I was very, not down per se, not depressed, but I was lethargic almost. And just didn't have the will to do much of anything.
Even when you wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So the things that you typically enjoy, you had a difficult time bringing the things together in your life to make that happen. So doing something online, a game online that you enjoy doing, you quit that too. You didn't do anything because it seemed like it was so difficult for you to organize and even have that thought. I'd ask you something, if you had an answer to it, then right after that answer it was gone. You know what I mean? So if it required action to be taken, that wasn't happening.
Right.
In any situation, whether you, like I said, it was something you enjoyed or not.
Right.
So you realized that it does help you. And to think about that state just a couple of years ago without medication, and now you're on medication and you're able to organize enough to go to college. I think that's a pretty significant impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Josh just showed me the time. So we're going to have to wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to say?
Don't be ashamed if you have to take medication. Try and see it from the point of view that I said, that it's just a fact of life that you take it. Try not to put any emotions behind it. Just, it's a fact that right now you have to take medication. And I know that it's difficult to do that, but it'll help you feel better in the long run about what you're doing.
Yeah. Might even help in your success.
Yeah.
Good deal. Thank you, Josh. Yeah. All right. So this is it. This is the medication podcast. So thank you for listening and hanging out with us today. You can, if you're interested, if you dig what we're doing, Sonya King Comedy is on Twitter. At Sonya King Comedy is Twitter. My website is sonyaking.com. It's SONYAKING. We have a Facebook. I think that's all my name. I don't know. But we can be found on iTunes. If you go to any of those places, again, follow us if you like what we're doing. Like us, share what we're doing, and we're trying to make a positive difference for those
whoever we can.
Yeah, wherever we can, including those that live in this house. Yes. So yeah, send us you can go to the website and send us a message, a topic you'd like to cover, or
questions about a previous podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or just let us know that you're listening.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
So have a great day. Love you.
Bye.